with IBS Business College. I, Mohit Sharan of BBE third year placement cell member, welcome you all in this interactive session on the topic decision making for career or personal life and bringing out the leader in you. I extend a very warm welcome to our dignitaries, our guest speakers of the day, Dr. Ajay Pathak and Mr. Abhishek Kundu, guest member Mr. Ravi Shankar, our rector, Father Joseph Thadinawal SJ, our principal, Father Dr. T. Nishant SJ, our vice principal and placement guide, Father Dr. Martin Porus SJ, members of the management, professors, and my dear friends. We are honored that all of you are here today, that too on Sunday, although your presence is a great source of joy for us. Before we begin, our Xavier's culture have a tradition to invoke God's presence before any event. For this, I would like to invite placement cell member Ms. Sneha of BCA third year to lead us into a prayer. Over to you, Sneha.
Good morning, everyone. I would request everyone to close their eyes and get ready for prayer. Dear Almighty and ever-loving God, we glorify and thank be your name. You have showered us with so much blessing, and your presence continuously reminds us of your faithfulness and guidance. We may humbly ask you to shower our speakers today of your greatest inspiration so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge, experiences, and put it into practice what we may learn today. Amen. Over to you, Mohit.
Thank you, Sneha, for your soulful prayer. Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. Now, I would like to invite our first speaker of the day, Dr. Ajay Pathak, Director at IBS Kolkata. He is a PhD from IIT Kharagpur, from where he also acquired his engineering degree. He is a Fellow of Cost and Management Accountants of India from ICAI Kolkata. He has worked in senior positions in banking industry for 25 years. He is a certified associate of Indian Institute of Bankers. He is a member of Economic Affairs, Finance and AMP, Taxation Committee, Economic Research Cell at Confederation of Indian Industry, Kolkata. He has published several research articles on risk management in various journals of repute. He has also edited several books on various topics, ranging from pricing and branding of financial products, sovereign wealth funds, and asset liability management in banks. He has conducted several executive development programs for corporate on risk management and tax management. He has also several consultancy assignments to his credit. He has been associated with IBS for the last 15 years in several capacities. He has taught several subjects in the domain of finance and banking. He has extensively traveled across the globe and is extremely passionate about nurturing the best out of students. Now, I invite Dr. Ajay Pathak, sir, to address this virtual gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It is nice to be introduced by a student. It's always a pleasure when some student introduces me. And I thank St. Xavier's College for allowing us to be here on this virtual platform. I would also welcome the principal, the father here. It reminded me of a good old days in St. Lawrence School, when there was a prayer before we used to start off, and this is really nice. I really liked it, definitely. Thank you, St. Xavier's College. Dear students, a warm welcome you. I welcome you to this my talk for about half an hour. I would restrict myself because if you allow me to speak, I can speak for 1 hour, 15 minutes without stopping, But I would like to convey some thoughts to you, particularly relevant with this topic, which will be covered later. So what I will do, I will try to divide my talk into 3 parts. The first part will be relating to the present scenario, where we are, what we should do, how should we handle this situation. Second, I will talk about a bit about what IBS role has been in developing leaders for 25 years. And the third part will be relating to your self-development individually, so that you can all become future leaders of tomorrow. And I will just start by telling you the present scenario. We all know that we are in the worst of times. This pandemic has hit us very badly. It is not only affecting our health, it is also affecting our livelihood. Economy is in a downturn, and we reported a negative figure of 23.9% GDP. It is really very shocking. But we were closed for these 3 months. So this was obvious that we'll come out with a negative figure. There was no demand, there was no supply, people were at home and sticking to and not going out. So what will happen subsequently? See, these things are already gone. Your June quarter is gone, and September quarter GDP is expected to be around minus 10 to 11%. Reserve Bank governor in his speech recently has said that we land up with a negative figure of 9.5% for the financial year 2021. Why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because you must keep track of what's happening around you, around the world, around in your country, what is happening. So if you see the situation, certain sectors are doing very well. The sectors which are doing very well are the IT sector, health sector, and agriculture sector has also done well. Agriculture sector has shown a growth of 3.4%, which is positive, which is good for our country, because if the rural sector does well, it it falls on the semi-urban and the urban areas also. The sectors which are not doing well, you know it very well, it's no-brainer. Movie halls are not there. You are not going to movies, you are not going to restaurants, you are not going to a gym, though some gyms have opened. So certain sectors will definitely not do well because there was no demand and nobody went outside. But things are going to improve. Do we look back or do we look forward? We must look forward. Things are improving. If I can share some data with you, passenger vehicle sales have reached 2.95 lakhs in the month of September. GST figure is 95,000 crores, which is virtually relating to pre-COVID level. So, and if you see the unemployability rate has gone up to 8% from 5.8. Several people lost their jobs. They had salary cuts. So this was a dampener for our economy. The demand was not there. So this is the present scenario. But what is going to happen in the future? Next 15 months, maybe more than that. If you see, the pandemic has to go down. Pandemic has to reduce drastically. And if you see the figures of last 1 week, the number of cases have gone down and we are slowly peaking out. But whether we will peak out or not, we do not know. Because if the information which is coming from other countries, second wave of infection is there already in UK, in France, in USA. So things may worsen. So we do not know. I was listening to Bill Gates a few days back, and he said that situation is going to improve in December, and maybe by June 2021, we will be able to, reduce the impact of corona pandemic. So this is the present scenario. Now, what should be done? Is it worst of times? It is best of times. I would say the worst of times is over now. We have to now think about the best of times. Best of times is going to come now, because economy is going to improve. The green shoots are already visible, and we will have to develop ourselves. As a student, remember, you will have to self-develop yourself to become a decision maker, to become a leader of tomorrow. Because what should you do? How do you self-develop? I will just give you two brief exercises, which is very easy, but very difficult to answer. Okay, so one is you stand before the mirror and ask certain questions to the mirror. Who am I? Why have I come to this earth? The third question, have I come to this earth to live an ordinary life? Have I come to this earth to live an extraordinary life? The mirror is not going to give you the answer, and you will have to give the answer. The first question, who am I? it's the most difficult question to answer. First, you have to recognize yourself. What sort of person you are? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How do you work on your strengths? How do you make your weaknesses redundant? These are very important steps which I'm telling you. So who am I? Who am I? You will have to keep on thinking about it. And this will change. Who am I changes. The definition of who am I changes as you mature, as you get more experience. You are a person with a lot of humility. You are a good human being. So that's what the definition will change in with passage of time. Second question was relating to why have I come to this earth? You have come to this earth for some reason, to do something in your life, to achieve something. There may be failures while you want to achieve something in life. Don't be worried about failures. Don't be worried about mistakes. These things do happen. And this problem which has come, if you see the history of past 150 years, several diseases have spread all across the world. We had Spanish flu 100 years earlier. We had smallpox. We had several diseases. But this is a disease which ultimately, this is a virus which is impacting not only the economy, but also the health. We had earlier crises, we relates to subprime crisis, relate to Great Depression. These are all there. So it is just like when you are going on a road, when you are in your cycle or motorcycle or your car, remember there will be speed breakers. And these speed breakers will always be there, and you have to slow down. Remember, this is a period we have slowed down already. Now we have to catch certain speed. We'll have to look into it and slowly drive our vehicle towards prosperity. This is what we are supposed to do. The third question is, have I come to this earth to live an ordinary life? Answer should be no. Have I come to this earth to live an extraordinary life? Answer should be yes. You are all going to live an extraordinary life. That is the first feeling you must have. Yes, I'm going to do it. People, there's a lot of anxiety out here, with all the students all across the country and across the world, stating that, sir, what is going to happen? Is the placement going to happen? Sir, our careers are doomed. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear over uncertainty. But don't be bothered, my dear students. This will all go away. This will go away slowly and steadily. You have to cope up with it. And I envy you guys because you have got so much of potential. And I call my students multi-potentialite. You can do so many things. You are focused sometimes, you are not focused sometimes. You know technology much better. You can acquire knowledge much better. You can do wonders in this world. You can do a lot of innovations. You can do lateral thinking. You can do a lot. The point is whether you think in those directions. That is very important. And that is what decision making is important. And that is why your choices are really very important. So first exercise I told you, I'll come to this part later on. The second exercise is sit in a closed room and sit tightly for about half an hour, 45 minutes. Listen to your mind. Talk to yourself. And when you talk to yourself, you'll find out a lot of things will come to your mind. Your past mistakes, your success, you have done well somewhere in your exams, you have participated well in extracurricular activities. You're all doing that. This will come to your mind. But our mind is internal. You have to remember whatever we get from outside affects our mind. Some people is thrashing us that you are good for nothing. Some people are telling us like this, sir, what is going to happen? So don't be bothered about external environment. Of course, we get all impacted by what is happening around. We cannot avoid that. But when you sit in a room, you must try to think about yourself. So read books, read newspapers, update yourself continuously. I tell my students when you are pursuing your post-graduation, remember 1 hour to yourself strictly. Don't be disturbed by externalities and concentrate, focus for 1 hour, meditate. This is a high time, when people are meditating. A lot of meditations are there. If you see online, it is all available for you. And meditation will give you a lot of peace. I believe some of you must be also doing this meditation or yoga exercise. This is necessary. So 1 hour focus is really very important. Do whatever you feel like. Do it yourself. DIY. Do it yourself. Remember that. I'll come to that a bit later about your self-development. How do you develop yourself? I will talk about that a bit later. Now, I will tell you about the story because we feel that every happiness should be shared. We would like to know your happiness, your St. Xavier's College happiness, your individual happiness, faculty members' happiness. You would like to know. We would like, because we, why do we like to know? Because we want that we should share. We belong to the same universe of educational institutes. We are nurturing students. We are ensuring that they follow a specific career path. So about IBS, very simple. In 5 minutes, I will just tell you the story. The story is like this. It is ICFAI group, which comprises of 11 universities and 9 business schools. And we have completed 25 years of business school teaching and placing students. We have 54,000 alumni members doing very well in personal and corporate life. How this has happened? What is the secret sauce? Secret sauce is on 3 pillars. The pillars are very simple. Academic pillar. The second pillar is about the personality development pillar. And the third pillar relating to your career path or the placement pillar, the industry interface pillar. The first pillar is very simple. Academic pillar, all of you are in the academic pillar even in colleges. So first pillar, when it is academic pillar, it comprises of 3 sub-pillars. The first sub-pillar relating to course curriculum development. IBS, the core competency of IBS has been management education. We have been continuously changing our course curriculum every 2 years or even earlier. We talk to industries and ask them what is to be taught to make our students relevant for placement opportunities. So we talk to Deloitte, we talk to ICICI Bank, we talk to SDFC Bank, we introduce courses on US tax, transfer pricing, international audit. So these are something new which has happened in the various campuses and the students get placed there. Similarly for ICICI Bank, financial planning, for wealth management, SDFC, retail banking, etc., etc. So we modify our course curriculum because if you teach something relevant, that will enable students to be placement ready, to be industry ready. The second part of our pillar is the personality development, because the companies, when they come, they not only look for domain knowledge, they also look for personality of the student. All of you students, you are members of council, you have got the placement cell, you're all doing very well. So we have got various clubs. We have got 12 clubs, personality development clubs, where you have finance, marketing, HR, IT, analytics club, and then we have cultural clubs, where the students can be allowed to, sing, dance, quiz, debate, dramatics, whatever, photography, whatever you want to do. Here the students are the leaders. We believe that every student is a leader. Student has got leadership qualities, provided you give that student a responsibility. Students are willing to take responsibilities. We have found out in our 25 years experience. And these students, they are student activity coordinators, the members of various clubs. They talk to corporates, they get corporates to the campus for guest lectures. They, prepare budgets. So they conduct all these events and they commit mistakes. I tell my students, don't bother. If you do something, commit a mistake, accept the mistake, and try to learn from your mistakes, because maturity will come only when you commit mistakes and you learn from your experience and mistakes. So this was about the second sub-pillar. The third sub-pillar is about case studies. We have been writing case studies, 6,400 cases, and these are uploaded taught in various business schools like INSEAD and Columbia and other business schools. We are next to Howard University in writing cases. And hats off to my faculty members. And we have won several accolades, several awards in writing these cases and getting it published. And these cases are used in classes. When we teach students, these are all happening online now. Even the discussions which are happening in the cases, these are all happening online. So these cases, when discussed in the class, enables students to understand the nuances of the corporate world, how the world is changing, what a company is doing, what are the decision variables which are to be there, what are decisions to be taken. If decision variable changes, then what happens to the decision output? So this the students understands, captures, because the knowledge has to be delivered, knowledge has to be acquired. This is very important because our faculty members ensures that these knowledge must be delivered and knowledge has to be acquired. Because I'm saying this, we select our faculty members in such a way that they have got they are from corporate world, they have got academic experience, they have got academic qualifications and all that, and ultimately they deliver. This is really very important. So this was about our academic pillar, the personality development, etc. And the third one, which I'm talking about finally, is the industry interface. More than 1,000 companies visit our campus, and they visit because they find our IBS students who have been doing so well, and they continue. There are companies which are old companies which are coming, banks are there, financial institutions are there, we have got FMCG companies. These companies come and take our students. This was in brief about what IBS does, but what is to be done further for you to develop yourself? This I'm going to cover now. What should you do to develop yourself? Because if you are not developing yourself, you are not doing anything. So how do you develop yourself? Development can only come to you if you have got realization. Realization has to happen that yes, as I told you in the first exercise, you must realize that I'm going to do well in life. There's a book, which I will recommend later on for you to read. Some of you must have read that book, which will enable you to understand how to work on your subconscious mind, because everything is a mind management game. Remember that. So realization will come to you if you write down your goals, if you write down your short-term goals. Your first short-term goal is to clear your graduation. Okay. Now, after graduation, what will you do? You can choose anything which you like. You can become an entrepreneur. You can do your post-graduation in management. You can do your post-graduation in your BCom, or you can do your MBA. Whatever you want to do. You want to become a teacher, fine. You want to be a singer, fine. Don't overrule your passion, because you have got so much of talent in you, and this passion should come out. So writing your short-term goals, writing your long-term goals is very important. Long-term goals is 5 years down the line where we want to be in the corporate world. If you are taking a job after doing your post-graduation, so you must write down your short-term goals, long-term goals continuously, and also write down your CV. It's the most difficult part, I can tell you. Writing your CV correctly and truthfully is not an easy task. We keep on working on the CVs of our students and find out that it has to be changed again and again. So you are in the final year, this is a high time that you write down your CV. If you start writing your CV, you'll find out you start off with your name, etc., and then you come to qualifications, and then it finishes. Because if you don't mention your strengths, your weaknesses, your hobbies, your interests, what is the additional course content you have pursued, whether you have done an ISM course, whether you have done a course on digital marketing. So this is all required to be put in. This will enable you, because see, the companies are interested in knowing your story. Your story is very important, and your story is, I have done so many things. I've done so many things. I've been success. I have failed here. Be free to accept your failures with the companies. Remember that. And the companies like to know what are the qualities which you have, the leadership qualities, the analytical skills you have, how to find out solutions to problems. What are your communication skills? What are your interpersonal skills? So this should all come to the fore. And this should be mentioned briefly in your CV. Some students come and tell me, sir, I have got nothing. I sleep a lot. I said, it's okay. Doesn't matter. But mention something where you say, fine, yes, I feel happy doing this. I feel happy by going to an NGO. I feel happy in helping underprivileged children. I feel happy when I go to old age homes and help the senior citizens who have been left behind by the children. So this indicates that you are a humble person, you have a lot of humility, and companies are interested in knowing all this. Remember that. So realization must come to you, so write your CV. Another thing which I will tell you, which is transformation. Transformation must happen continuously. You must transform yourself on a daily basis. How do you do that? Write down a small routine for today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do some exercises. I am going to do this work. So if you write down some, the daily routine work, you will understand that you are able to give a priority to whatever the work is important, and you are keeping the work which is, not important for a later day. So this is what I call is transformation. How do you transform yourself? I said read newspapers. Some of you must be reading newspapers, because reading newspapers will update yourself continuously. Remember that. If you read newspapers, you can read the content, you can read the stories, you can find out which company is doing what is Bharti Airtel, why is it struggling, what ITC is doing, what is Indigo doing. So you will come to know these stories. And I would tell you to watch one channel which I always recommend, CNBC TV 18, not for the stock market, but to understand the various CEOs who are talking there. Uh, they give you a brief picture about their performance in their company and what are the strategies do they follow. This is very important because you can understand individual sector, you can understand an individual company. So read newspapers, watch TV, which is relevant, which is CNBC TV 18, read books. Reading books is really very important. Leaders, read books extensively. They read 50 to 60 books. I'm not telling you to do that. Read one book in a year. Run one management book, any book which you feel is important for you, which will enable you to come out of your shell. I find students, a lot of students who are introvert, they do not want to speak further. They're keeping to themselves. You have to come out, you have to speak to the world, you have to participate in events. So this transformation will come to you slowly but steadily. If you are weak in communication, don't worry. Try to work on this by learning one word of English every day. Go to dictionary, one word of English, put it in your diary. Yes, I've learned it today. What is the meaning? And start using it later on once you are slightly better in your communication skills. Remember, communication skills is not only about communicating, it's also about listening. That's why we have these GDs and PIs where the student we try to understand students how they're speaking and how they're listening to others. Your behavior in a group is also really very important. So what else should you do to transform yourself? Another thing which you must do is use the social media to your advantage. Social media is a great platform where the students can work on themselves and just develop themselves. There are a lot of courses which are on offer now. During this pandemic, if you can go through some of the Udemy courses, you can go through some upgrade courses. There are a lot of courses on offer. You can go there, and these are very cheap courses. There's a 20-hour online course which is available. Various, if you want to learn about financial analysis, this is something because the video will be available to you throughout. Just with a nominal cost, you can do these courses and put it on your CV. That's the best way to strengthen your CV. Remember that. Use YouTube. If you are a good photographer, put it on the YouTube. Some photographs you have taken, you have gone to the forest area earlier and put it on the, you will be recognized by somebody. You will be told that, yes, please come and meet us. We'd like to use your talent, your potential in our certain work which we are going to do. So there have been several instances where the individuals or the corporates have called students, to deliver. There was recently a national education policy. I find a lot of students are talking on the video about the national education policy, and they're available on the YouTube. So if you're a good speaker, good debater, remember, you put your content. You can blog also and put some content. This will improve, the debates, the healthy debates which are going to happen. And remember, don't put derogatory comments there, because the corporates are watching. Companies, when they come, they said, okay, you have got Facebook account. Okay, we'd like to see what are your contents there. So you are under watch. Remember, if you are putting yourself on the Facebook, be careful what content you are putting, because a lot of companies look into your social media account, your Twitter account to find out what you have been doing. One question which is asked normally by the companies now, how did you spend your time? How did you spend your time during this pandemic, COVID-19? So this is something which the students have to understand, that whatever the companies ask is something really very good, and which will enable them to select the student. This is your life, the way you are spending your life. It's really very important. So transformation through regular reading, regular reading of books, using social media to your advantage is the way you transform, and this is the way you can do better in life. And this is all about self-development. Finally, I would like to tell you about the sustainability. Now, what is sustainability? Sustainability means that wherever you are, you must sustain yourself. Don't fall down the cliff. I find a lot of students who do well in the class 10, 11, 12, ultimately their marks go down. So work on this. Why should marks go down? I know graduation marks are slightly difficult to get as compared to class 11, 12. But work on your domain knowledge very well, because domain knowledge ultimately is really very important, because the students come to me and tell me, sir, I've got a job now, I need not go for further knowledge. I said, no, this is the time when you have to further achieve that maturity level. Go to the leadership level, the self-development. There can be level 1, level 2, level 3. There are a lot of self-development which can happen, and it can take you to the higher level. This is basically related to ultimately your decision which making, and ultimately making you a leader. So in sustainability, remember, stay wherever you are. You must try to ensure that you continue with the same standard. You have set yourself a standard. Yes, I will be here. I will be here. Don't fall down that standard. Don't fall into wrong company and do something wrong, because mind will always tell you what is right, what is wrong. But ultimate decision lies with your heart. You'll have to take the correct decision. So, and finally, the NGO part, you must, as I told you earlier, go and do some service to the society. The satisfaction and the happiness which you will get, I believe some of you must be doing. The social responsibility club must be there. We have got a club like that where the students go and participate and go to underprivileged children, old age homes, and help them out. Be with them. So this will give you satisfaction. This will also enable us that to tell you that you must go to these people so that something can be done for the society. So these are some of the thoughts I wanted to share with you. Remember, keep these thoughts with you, and I'll be accepting questions later on. But 3 points I will just tell you before I quit. One is that time is never on a holiday. This time will pass away. Don't get into a fear of uncertainty. Don't get into anxiety. Don't lose sleep on these matters. This is really very important. So time is never on a holiday. The second part is the dreams do not have expiry date. Try to have some dreams and have ambitions and achieve that in your life. And finally, open a happiness account. Happiness account should be open. If you give happiness, credit that account. If you take that happiness, debit your account. And we have got a happiness club where we feel that we should all be happy. You must enjoy every moment. Remember, every day is a moment of enjoyment. Every moment is a moment of enjoyment. You must enjoy every moment. I know you're no party is happening. Everything is happening online. Remember, party is going to happen. You are going to enjoy. You're going to go to movie halls 6 months, 8 months, 1 year down the line. So have patience, have resilience, and ultimately you will do well in life. Wish you all the best, my dear students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your such informative and valuable words. All of us do not have equal talent, yet all of us have an equal opportunity to develop our talents. Now, I would like to invite our next speaker of the day, Mr. Abhishek Kundu. He is a regional manager at ICFAI Business School for the Eastern region. He is having 12 years of industry experience. He is also an alumni of IBS Hyderabad, where he has done his MBA and he has done his BTech from KIIT University, Bhubaneswar. Now he is based in ICFAI Kolkata at Kolkata campus. Apart from counseling, training, sales, and marketing, he loves traveling in different areas throughout India. Also, he loves trekking and loves reading novels. He is a great communicator and speaker and loves to interact with students and guide them on career-related issues. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, sir. I hope the students have heard and absorbed what you said, because if you actually understand what sir was saying, it will be very, very important for you all. A very good morning to all of you. Let me just give you a brief introduction of myself. Like Mohit graciously introduced me. My name is Abhishek Kundu. Currently, I am the Assistant General Manager for IBS. I am also an IBS pass out. But let me first, on the onset, tell you a couple of things. I am not really a trainer, I'm not a faculty here. But every year, for the last 5 years, I have been interacting with, I think, more than a couple of thousand students every year who are in the same situation that you guys are in. So in the same stage of their lives, in this same these kind of sessions that I've interacted. So maybe I can pass on whatever I have gained through those interactions because I can understand the stage that you guys are in. So that's probably it. Again, let me qualify the topic that has been chosen today. It is decision making and bringing out the leader in you. Look, if I'm exactly able to explain this to you and you're able to understand, that'll be like I will have something like a gold mine. If I can exactly teach somebody decision making and exactly tell somebody how to become a leader, then everybody in this world would become leaders. So at the onset, this is not a very uh, topic which is easy for you or for me to get across because becoming a leader is something that I can't train you on. Taking decisions, personal and professional, is not something that I can train each and every person that this is the decision that you should take, this is the decision that you cannot take. Because understand, decisions are always affected by a various number of factors. These decisions could be affected by personal factors. There are some people who decide stuff because of emotions. All of us do at some point in our lives. We take decisions not because they're right, but we are emotional about it. Sometimes we take decisions because we need to gain something out of it. It might not be an ethical decision, but a lot of us do because we gain some advantage out of it. So decisions are taken by various people through various different ways. But I cannot exactly teach you how to take a decision. What I can do is I can break down the process and I can only talk to you about rational decision making because that's the only decision making that we can really discuss. So I can break down the decision making process, tell you what are the various aspects to decision making, make you understand that there could be a possibility that you have a process in which you sit down, write down your problems and then try and get to a rational decision. So that is all I can do about decision making. Okay, and that is what I'll explore in a PPT. Again, I would. There's one other qualification for this event is this has to be interactive. It will be very difficult if two, three people talk at the same time. But if you have any questions, you can. I'm sure there's a chat box. You can put them down on the chat box, and we can answer those questions whenever you want. Right. So I will start with this PPT. We'll start with decision making, and then we'll move on to leadership. And I will just like to explain or like to discuss on what are the different kinds of leaders that are out there. What are their common traits? So, uh, so success. So how do you define success is a different question. But how do you find out what are the common traits that are required for a person to be successful? So there has been a lot of research done and then factors identified. So we'll discuss some of them, but right now let's get to decision making. Please understand this PPT is from IBS Kolkata. Faculty from IBS Kolkata has given me this PPT, not made by me. So all the credit goes to IBS Kolkata here. So can we go to the next slide, please? Can we go to the next slide? Arohi, ma'am, can you guys hear me?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you, ma'am.
I'll just start with the presentation.
Yeah, can you go to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
So once we go to the next slide, we will understand just a list down of a few possibilities, and we'll break down the decision-making process and try and understand what are the various factors. So Arohi, we are just waiting for you to go to the next slide.
There must be a network issue, sir. Wait.
Yeah, okay. That's okay. So I'll just talk to you about this next slide. Then whenever the slide comes, I hope all you guys can hear me. So what happens is, we are trying to discuss what is the nature of decision making. So the nature of decision making means, so in making effective decisions, as well as recognizing when a bad decision has been made and quickly responding to mistakes. This is a key ingredient in organizational effectiveness. Now, organizational effectiveness, do not think I'm only talking about companies or organizations. Organizational effectiveness would also mean your own personal life and your own personal, how do you organize yourself, and how do you organize your effectiveness. So that could also mean that. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah. So, so all the again, I'm saying this is what experts believe, because we don't know what makes the best and effective decisions. But due to some research, experts believe that decision making is the most basic and fundamental activities, of course, and decision making is most closely related with the planning function. So, decision, the best. So, Pathak sir was talking about books. I will give you a very small story. There is this incredible author. He writes sci-fi novels. He's called Isaac Asimov. He's a very old author. His books are incredible. So one of his books, he talks about somebody. There is a field of mathematics which predicts the future, and they can predict the future exactly. I mean, whatever they predict actually happens. How are they making this prediction? Is because they know, because they have such a big computer to compute these equations, they know all the variables that are available. So they can plan. They have the planning function perfectly in place. They know exactly what are the things which are going to affect. So they are able to predict the future. So decision making can be best if your planning is best. Again, we are only talking about rational decision making. As long as you don't let your emotions affect your decisions, you can only make these decisions the best. Okay, can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So what is decision making? Decision making is the act of choosing one alternative from among a set of alternatives. Okay. So that is exactly what it is. We have first to decide that a decision has to be made, and then secondly identify a set of feasible alternatives. So that is the normal process. I will take an example and try and explain this so that you understand better. I don't think the slides are moving forward, so it is becoming a little difficult for you to understand what I'm talking about. But I'll just carry on with the presentation and then try and make it easier for you. Okay. So we talked about what decision making is. Now let's go to the decision making process. So the decision making process would include you to recognize and define the nature of the situation. You have to identify alternatives, and you have to choose the best and the most effective alternative to prove in place. So let me take a example which maybe you guys can relate. Now you guys are in the final year of your graduation. You have to decide what to do next. What is your next alternative? Do I take a job? What kind of jobs do I get? Do I go for post graduation? What kind of post graduation do I go for? Do I start my own business? What kind of, if I do, what kind of business do I start? So you have a decision to make now. So let us try and include that into this PPT for you to understand it better. So first you have to recognize, okay, now I have to make a decision in my life. Because guys, graduation, I'm sure a lot of you do work. I'm sure a lot of you work hard, and I'm sure a lot of you get a lot of marks, and it's tough. But generally, at least 80% of the crowd, how they do graduation, I know because I have also done graduation. And 4 years of graduation, 4 years of engineering, very honestly, I did everything, but I didn't do engineering. I regretted it later, but that's what I did. But then I had to make a decision. Now, this is a time for you to make a decision because whatever you've done in your graduation has gone. The next 2 years of your life could be the most important 2 years for your career. Because these 2 years, if you are able to focus, if you are able to do the right things, it will make your career. But if in these 2 years you are not doing the right things, they could actually make it 100 times tougher for you to go ahead in your career. So this is a very important time for you to make the correct decision. So you have to first recognize, yeah, I have to make a decision now. So you recognized it. Now you have to identify your alternatives. What are my alternatives? Can I get into a job? Can I start a business? Do I join my family business? Do I do a post graduation? Now you have different alternatives. In these alternatives, you will have different alternatives. So if I do a business, what kind of business do I do? So these are the second step of your decision making. The first step is these are my alternatives, and then I have to choose the best among them and then put them into practice. So that is the decision making process. So sometimes effective decisions must be made. Why should we make effective decisions? We have to optimize. So some set of factors that will benefit you in the long run, or we have to minimize. Minimize what? Loss, expense, or we have to select the best method that will give me the best output. So these are the ways why we must make effective decisions. So now if the PPT is on, yeah. So can we go to the next slide? Because the next slide will give them a model which they can only see. Okay. So there is a classical model of decision making. This model is a very generic model, but again, decision making is a very, very generic topic, so you can't really be exact about it. This is the model that you should be following. When faced with a decision situation, we should, first thing, obtain complete and perfect information. This is the most important thing and very, 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 very relevant, especially in today's world where you guys have so much of information coming in through various sources and not all of them, or I would even risk myself to say most of them are not correct. So you're being constantly fed with a lot of inputs, but you have to get the perfect information. That is the most important thing for decision making. You have to eliminate uncertainty and you have to evaluate everything rationally and logically. Look, ever since I've started speaking, I have been talking about rationally taking decisions. The only way that you can control your outcomes is if you take your decisions rationally and with logic, not with emotion, not with anger, not with jealousy, not with etc., etc., not with any of those values. Because if you use them, your decision making cannot be controlled. So that the best way to make a decision is when you're rational and when you're logical. And once you have done that, you end up with the decision that is best and it serves the interest of the organization, it serves the interest of you. So this is the kind of classical model of decision making which you should be following, which is generally what people should be doing to make proper decisions, which are generally good. Okay, so let us just talk about rational decision making. Rational decision making will consist of 6 steps that keep up the decision maker focused on facts and logic and help guard against inappropriate assumptions and pitfalls. So these are the 6 steps that has been designed. It is again designed from the perspective of a manager. I admit it will be very, very difficult for you to apply this in your personal life. But if you can do that logically, you will see you will take a lot of decisions which turn out to be correct. So let us break down this rational decision making process into 6 steps. These six steps are: first, you define the problem, you clarify your objectives, you identify alternatives, you analyze the consequences, and then you make a choice. Now, just like Dr. Pathak said, the first thing that you should be focusing on doing is you should be writing down your initial assessment. Look, trust me, once you put things down on paper, you will see it becomes a lot more easier for you. And this is very scientific. When you put it down on paper, it is very, very easy for you, much easier for you to identify the issues and solve the problem. So the first step should be you should write down your initial assessment of the problem on a piece of paper. Then you dissect the problem. How do you dissect it? You dissect it by what triggered. So let us start with writing down our problem. I mean, I could suggest this exercise for you guys once you are at home, or after this session. You could take a piece of paper and write this down. You will see how it helps you. So let's start by writing down my initial assessment of the problem. So I'm at the final year of my life. I need to now think of what to do next. You write down your financial situation. This is why I have to work, or this is why I can afford to give a couple more years to studying, or this is why I have to join my, this is the problem why I have to join my family business. You start by writing down your initial assessment. Now you dissect the problem. So what triggered it? Uh, as I have assessed, of course, you have to think from your side. Why am I thinking about this right now? Is it just because I'm in the final year, or is there any other pressure? Something. So there's a pandemic around. There are people across the globe who are in a lot of financial trouble. So is there something to do with that? So what triggered my problem? Why am I even thinking about solving this problem? I wasn't thinking about this a year back or 6 months back. Why am I thinking about this? What is the connection between this trigger and the problem? These are the things how I would dissect the problem. Problem is what is to take, what decision to take, or what to do. Understand that. Step two, you have to be very clear in your objectives. Okay, you have to write down your objectives and that you hope to address through this kind of session. So I would suggest to move the slides along. We are still at the decision making process. We have defined the problem, and we have now gone to clarifying our objectives. So to clarify your objectives, you have to write down the concerns that you hope to address through your decisions. So writing down the concerns would be like, I need to earn a lot of money within the next 2 years. Or my objective is to actually train myself and become a better person in the next 2 years so that I can really succeed. So what are your objectives? I want to transform myself. What are you have to convert these concerns into very specific objectives. You can't just say that, you can't just write down that my objective is I want to become as rich as Mukesh Ambani. You can't be so generic about it. You have to then be very specific. This is the change in myself that I want to get. I want to become a more confident person. I want to become a more pleasing personality. I want to become a more knowledgeable person. So what are your specific objectives? I want to earn 20 lakhs in the next 2 years. What are your specific objectives? You have to write down these specific objectives. Then you have to separate your ends from the means. So what does this means? So what happens is uh, now if you have seen a lot of, or you have seen a lot of, I'm sure you've seen a lot of Hindi movies. If you have seen a lot or read a lot of books, you will see the ends and the means. If you have to take an objective decision, the ends and the means have to be separate. How I get to what I'm planning for. So it was explained to me very beautifully when I was at IBS Hyderabad. They told me, so suppose I have to go to the canteen from the classroom. I know that where I have to go. I know my end. I know my goal and I know my objective. But how do I go there? I can take the straight path from here, get out of the classroom, take a few steps, and straight walk to the canteen. Or I can get out of the classroom, take a left, go down, then go around the building and then go to the classroom. Or I could take a right, I could walk out of the campus, go around the campus, then come in again, and then go to the canteen. So my means or the path that I take could be very, very different. They have to be separate from my goal. So please be able to separate your means. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. If you're not understanding, you can ask, and I will try and uh, sort them out. So again, the next step would be in clarifying your objectives. The next step would be to test your objectives. Now, I could just so a lot of time we are influenced by what our peers are doing. So a long time in my life, I'm still interested in science. I am still interested in technology. But for a long time in my life, I wanted to go into engineering because a lot of my peers, a lot of my relatives, a lot of my elder brothers, a lot of my neighbors, they were into engineering, and once they went into engineering, they were praised by a lot of people. So then ultimately, I realized doing engineering was not my objective. So that is what I mean by testing your objective. So you might think that this is what I want out of my life, but once you experience it or once you see it closely, then you realize, no, this is not what I want in life. A very recent example that I can give you is this actress called Sana Khan. She just quit showbiz because apparently she realized that that is not what she wants. That is not her objective. So it is, and imagine she's been through a lot in her life to reach where she is, and then she realizes it is not her objective. So it is very important for you to test your objectives to see if they're actually what you're looking for. Okay. So I hope you guys are understanding, you're on the same page. Again, please understand this is just a process for you or some steps for you to be able to make some decisions. It's very difficult for you to follow these in real life, but if there is some certain specific decisions which concern you, if you sit down with a piece of paper, write these things down, they will help you to sort it out. Okay. So went through identifying the problem, we went through clarifying your objectives. I will share this PPT with all of you guys so you can take a look again. Then we went through identifying, then now we'll go through identifying alternatives. So now I have identified my problem. My problem is that I need to take a decision. I need to now decide what to do after my graduation. I have clarified my objectives. Either I need money, I need personality development, I need training, I need to be like this, or etc. You have clarified your objectives. Now you have to start identifying alternatives. So if my objective is to get the best training possible, I want to learn the most in a certain field. Now I have to identify my alternatives. What do I have to do? So if I have to learn the best, so if I choose the management field, either I have to get into an IIM, or I have to get into the next best college, or if I want to do a post graduation in the field that I already am, which are the institutions that I want to go to? I have to at least, so there's a saying called do not put all your eggs into one basket. So I will not just choose one college and focus on it. I will try and by alternatives to it. So it will not be that I will only go into IIMs. Now, if I don't make into IIMs, I also have to explore an IBS. I also have to explore maybe an Narsimunji. I also have to explore these kind of colleges also. If I want to get into business, what kind of business should I get into? So you have to identify your alternatives next. You have to generate as many alternatives as you can for yourself. because again, putting all your eggs into one basket is not the correct kind of approach. Now, every year when I speak to students, generally they are management aspirants, and I advise them, do not just aim for one college. You have to hedge your bets. So please apply for a lot of examinations. So you never know, one day you could have a very bad day during the examinations. I hope not, but you could, and that could, that could sort of affect your future. So don't look at only one examination, look at a lot of examinations. So don't look at only one alternative, try and give yourself as many alternatives as possible. Now expand your search. How do you expand your search? You expand your search by by checking with other people, by talking to other knowledgeable people, by asking experts, by talking to people whom you think have done well in the kind of field that you're looking at, and that is how you expand your search. Then what do? And then you look at each of your objectives. So if my objective is I want to be a rich person, so that is a simple objective. I want to be a rich person. Now I have to ask myself, how? How do I ask myself? So how do I become a rich person? uh, Now if you say just rich, that will be pertinent in the next point, which is you have to know when to stop. So rich matlab how rich? Rich is Mukesh Ambani rich, or rich as in your neighbor rich? So you have to have a very specific kind of a goal and a rational goal. You can't just want to be Mukesh Ambani in the next 5 years. That's going to be almost impossible. So you have to know when to stop. These have to be rational objectives, and you have to have rational ways. The best way again is to also talk to any expert or some senior who can help you, who can guide you through the process. But that person will only help you if you have already put these things down on paper. If you just approach somebody and tell them, Ki, sir, just tell me something and help me out, they'll not be able to help you so much. If you go to a senior person, show them these two, three pieces of paper and tell them, sir, this is how I identified my problem. This is how I'm trying to solve it. Can you give your input? I can promise you they'll be very, very encouraged by this kind of activity, and they'll try to help you. But that is the way to try and identify alternatives. Now, once you have identified alternatives, then you have to evaluate these said alternatives. How do you evaluate these alternatives? Each alternative should go through these three stages, because before it is worthy for consideration. Again, these are rational decisions that I'm talking about. You can mold them to your personal process as you can. So what are these three steps each alternative should pass through? One is feasibility. Is it feasible? Like I said, I can't want to be Mukesh Ambani in the next 1 year. It is not feasible. There is no human material and information resource that you can get which will make you like that, unless you sort of do something crazy illegal wherein you'll be in jail after 2 years. So there's nothing much to do. Is it feasible? Now, is it satisfactory? Does this alternative satisfy you? So you will have different alternatives. You choose either, or you choose or. If you choose or, it has to satisfy you more than the other decision. So it has to be a satisfactory alternative. These things has to be decided by you. Is it affordable? This is the third thing. Can I make it a part of my life? Is there a financial or non-financial cost? So is the non-financial cost for me that I have to prepare for 10 hours a day if I have to crack this exam, or I have to work for 15 hours a day outside of my state, wherein I have to stay home because my family is not very well. So is it feasible? Is it affordable for you? Is there any cost that you cannot pay? So every alternative should be going through these three kind of considerations before you evaluate them. So even an alternative which is both feasible and satisfactory must be rejected if the consequences are too expensive. So even if it is feasible, it is satisfactory, but it is not affordable, it has to be rejected, right? If you can't afford something either financially or non-financially, there is no way you can choose that alternative. So you have to reject that. So it has to go through all these, even if alternative is affordable, it is satisfactory, but it is not feasible, you have to reject it. So it has to go through all these three. So each one of your decisions, like we were talking about the decision to make after graduation, that decision can also go through all of these stages. And that is the best way to take a rational decision. Now, the next part is you have to select an alternative. Now, choosing an alternative is the choosing the best alternative is the real test. Optimization is the goal because a decision is likely to affect several individuals. So this is again organization based. So you have to optimize your decision even in your personal life. Whatever decision you make is going to affect more than just you. It is going to affect your family. It is going to affect your friends. It is going to affect a lot of people, your future family also. So that optimization has to be done. You have to be able to find multiple alternatives so that you select one, you can or you can do like that. Now, for rational decision making, we have been through selecting an alternative. Now let's go to implementing the chosen alternative. Now, if you consider people's, okay, so one of the things that is very prevalent, one of the sayings that is very prevalent is the only constant in the world. So in the world, they say everything is variable. I hope you guys understand that even the distance that we're talking about, everything is variable. So they say the only constant in this universe is change. Okay. If you want to change, everything changes. That is the only thing that is constant. But if you see, there is an inherent resistance in people to change. People don't want to change. If there's some science students here, they will understand this is called inertia. People have a inertia which prevents them to change or get out of their preset notions. So you must consider that if you want to do something, if you want to implement a decision, you will see if it is a new kind of a decision or if it's something unique, you will see that there will be a lot of resistance. If it is a personal decision, there could be resistance from your family, could be resistance from your friends. If it's a professional decision, it could be resistance from your boss. It could be resistance from the government. It could be resistance from anybody. So you will see whenever you take a decision, there always will be resistance. You have to be ready. You must consider this resistance when you are implementing decisions. Sometimes it will be easy for some decisions, no problem. It will be very easy. Maybe your parents are very understanding. Say you want to pursue music and you don't want to go into academics anymore. Maybe some parents will be, it will be very easy for them and they'll be accepting. Some it will be not. Some it might take some time. So there are various things that these decisions will go through. Plans are important. They're very useful. You should, if once you have decided the alternative, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a management degree in one of the best colleges in India. So now I have identified the alternative, but I have to also make a plan to get into the best college in India. What is the path for me? Now I have to give an entrance exam. If I have to give an entrance exam, what are the things that I need to study? So these are the things I need to study. How much time do I need to prepare? So there should be an operational plan. Unless you have an operational plan, it is going to be very difficult to implement the alternatives. Okay. So you must also recognize that even when all alternatives and their consequences have been evaluated as precisely as possible, unanticipated consequences are still likely. So the best examples that we have the best example that we have currently of unanticipated consequence is now that is happening. This is the pandemic. Now, in this pandemic, nobody knew this was going to happen. So the best laid, whoever had planned, people had planned to go outside of India. They had already been selected in colleges outside India. But all these plans, all these decisions, everything went haywire because of something that was out of everybody's control. So this will always happen. This could always happen in any decision that you should make. You should be very careful. A very common example that I can give you: every year the CAT test happens, and in every CAT test, usually there is a surprise. They change something in that test to evaluate whether you can take unanticipated problems also. Okay. So this is what happens in every decision that you take. There can be some unforeseen. Be ready for it. Don't let it affect you. Now, in rational decision making, once you have taken the alternative, you have to also follow up and evaluate these results of that alternatives. So you have to follow up and you have to understand what are the results. If they are implemented, it is not working, then I have to change it. You have to keep this cycle. So this got a feedback cycle. So once you've implemented a decision, you have to see whether that decision is working or not. If it is working, how do I tweak it to make it better? If it is not working, how do I change it? Do I reject it and do another alternative? These kind of things happen. One of my brothers, he got into one of the top MBA colleges in India, but after 1 month, he realized, "Ye mere se nahi hoga." He quit and he came back and he became a writer first, then he became a filmmaker. So you can change your decisions if they are wrong. So you have to evaluate. So again, like I said, there are various forces that influence your decision. One is intuition. There are some people who have an innate belief in something. There is no rational thinking here. Intuition, it feels right. Experience. There are some behavioral forces also influencing decisions. Uh, some people are so stubborn that even when they are wrong, they will stick to their decision. So these are behavioral forces. Some people a lot of who are very risk propensive, who want to take risks, like gamblers, they take huge risky decisions. So these are behavioral forces. So understand, there's a rational decision making process which is affected by a lot of these things that happen, and that is why this is a problem. So how to take better decisions? Please increase your knowledge. The most important thing to do, like sir said, please read books, read newspapers, read magazines, ask questions, get experience, use consultants, do your research, recognize facts, use intuition, and this is how you make better decisions. You can weigh the pros and cons, you can oversee finality of your decision, make sure the timing is right. So I'll share this PPT. You can go through. The rest of the PPT is generally about the example that I've been talking about, which is if you have to make a decision about about your academic career, then what do you do? So that is one of the things that has the rest of the PPT has. I would request Mohit and Arohi, Miss Arohi, to please share it so that they can take a look. I'll just take another 5-7 minutes, and we'll just go to the next part of this, which is leadership. We were talking about leadership, but please understand, leadership is not something that we can teach you, or anybody can explain to you. You can develop your leadership traits by following what a lot of these leaders do. Now, what these leaders do, there was this survey that was done a few years back. They tried to find out uh, how many books do CEOs read. I'm sure you know who CEOs are. They tried to find out how many books does an average CEO read in 1 year. Okay, that was their effort. They found out that one average CEO reads around 70 to 80 books a year in 1 year. And please understand, these are very, very busy people. These are not vellas. Okay? They have no time. They are working constantly. They have lot less time than you and me do. But still they read 80 books a year. Now, a lot of you will tell me, "Ha, sir, वो CEO है, वो पढ़ सकता है." No, no, no. I will say it is not that he is reading because he is a CEO. He is a CEO because he reads. So there's a difference here. So you can only follow what these people do. You cannot just become a leader overnight. You can just follow. So one of the most important things to do is please start reading books. It is really, really important. You can't get to 80 books immediately, but you need to get into the habit. A lot of you say, sir, patience nahi hai, it's a very fat book, I can't read it. But once you start, it becomes a habit. So please start reading books. One of the other things that leadership you can do in leadership is you have to start you have to start participating in events like this. Not just participating as in being a participant and listening to what people are saying, but participating as in what the other students like Mohit are doing, who are presenting this and organizing this. This is one of the most important aspects or the most important things in becoming a leader. You cannot become a leader sitting at home. You have to go out. At first, you will fail. So, the first time I started working, I came out in a recession. Okay, it was the very bad year, probably the worst year ever to pass out in the history of mankind, including this year. It was 2008-9. It was a very bad year. The first time my boss comes up to me and he says, Yellow, go and now start. I have to sell a product which is worth 6 lakh rupees. I had no idea what to do. But I still went out and I did it. I failed a few times. I got hit around a few times, but I did it. You have to go. You can't just sit there and think that somebody will teach me to become a leader. To become a leader, you have to start participating. Wherever there's a blood donation camp, there is a puja being organized, there is a school college function being organized, there is a anything that is being organized, you have to start participating actively in organizing those things and slowly develop your leadership skills. That is, trust me, the only way to become a leader is experience. Nobody can teach you how to become a leader. So this is a very brief on leadership. We went a long way into decision making. If the PPT, if I was able to show the PPT, I would have been much better. But I hope you just got it that decision making, if you take it rationally, is a process. But a lot of us do not take rational decisions, and that is the problem. So please, whenever you take a decision, there's an important decision for you to take. Take a piece of paper, write down what are your objectives, evaluate those objectives, find out your alternatives, choose the best alternative, and then take your decision, evaluate those alternatives also. That is the way to take a rational decision. The way to become a leader is if you keep on taking rational decisions with your life, I'm sure you'll become a leader. Right? So that's about all I had to say. I don't think we have too much time left. Thank you for your time. Mohit.
Thank you, sir, for your informative and inspiring words. Interactive session without question and answer session is incomplete. For putting up your valuable questions, I would like to invite placement cell member Mr. Aditya Anthony of BCP third year. So over to you, Anthony.
Thank you, Mohit. Just let me know if I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So students, you can just jot in your questions, doubts or queries in the chat section. Since we are running out of time, we'll only take a couple of questions. Thank you. So, sir, we have this question from a student. It says, we oftentimes get spiraled in what we want and what our parents want. So how to be a good chooser, rather a wise chooser?
So what is the question? Can you repeat
Sir,
again? Because
the question was that they get into a bind because their decisions, what they want and their parents want are different. So how to take that decision?
it's a very difficult decision. Okay. See, what happens here, normally what the parents or the children are thinking and what parents are thinking, these are different, But one way to do it is to talk to your parents continuously. The parents should also recognize that the students have got something which his child is saying. So the only way is to come into a mutual consent and try to arrive at a decision. I'll just give you another example. Lot of parents come to us and they say that we would like their child to study in Kolkata, but the child his child is saying that he would like to go to some other place outside Calcutta because he doesn't want to stay in the clutches of their parents. They want to live a free life full of freedom. Okay, there lies the problem, because the parent has to recognize that the student has to grow. Student has to leave the city where he or she is staying, though it is against us, but ultimately if the student wants to go outside Calcutta, the student should be allowed, because there may be more development there. Calcutta is a place, definitely the city of joy, and people also learn a lot intellectually. They are very good, but at the same time, if the parent feels that yes, the student can go outside, the student should be allowed. And I can tell you the student grows much faster, much better if the student is allowed to mix with people. The problem with the students is that they, at the graduation level, they're basically introvert people. They don't want to mix around. And this introvert should turn into being an extrovert person as soon as they do their post-graduation. Post-graduation will enable them to achieve certain maturity, which is really, very important.
So,
I think I've been
sir,
able to
just
answer.
yes, sir. Sir, if you think back on the PPT that I shared, there were a couple of points there. One said that every decision that you take will face resistance. So whether it is from your parents or the society, be ready to take that resistance. Second is every decision that you take will have either it will be very tough to convert or it will take time. Ultimately, they are your parents. If you actually have passion in somebody, actually, it is not a fad that because your peers are doing it or because you find it glamorous. If you actually have a passion for it, today or tomorrow your parents will understand because they are your parents. They will see your passion. But that passion has to come through. You can't just say कि कुछ दिनों के लिए करना है and that can't happen. So it take time. You have to work on what you think, what you want to do with your life. If it is a correct thing to do, again, please take a rational decision. Don't take this, I want to go into showbiz because I think Amitabh Bachchan looks so great. No, you cannot be Amitabh Bachchan. So don't take these kind of decisions. If you take a rational decision and you are passionate about it, your parents are able to be communicated, I'm sure they will understand. Please communicate with your parents. Show them your passion for the decision that you're taking, right?
Yeah, okay.
Anthony, please
So,
take the question from the chat box. Anthony,
uh,
question from
yeah,
the
yeah,
chat
ma'am, I'm just doing
box.
it.
That will be the last
So,
question.
sir, yes, sir. So, our last question is a student asked, which personality trait is useful in today's world?
Which personality trait is useful in today's world?
Yeah,
Say, I would recommend that your own personality is really very important. If you want to, follow somebody, there will be a lot of people whom you can follow. Personality traits are there. You can follow a good cricketer. You can follow a good actor like Akshay Kumar. You can follow a good cricketer, which indicates like Sachin Tendulkar, who's a disciplined person. So I feel that instead of looking into all this, you should try to develop your own inner being. Your inner personality requires to be developed, which I said, your realization, your transformation, your sustainability is really very important. Your personality trait will come from yourself only. We get disturbed by external environment. What we should do is we try to look within ourselves and try to develop our own personality. For that, for the students, I would suggest, if you want to do something in life, the best thing to do will be to, be more disciplined, follow good habits, listen to somebody who has done well in life, and you will definitely do well. I mean, that's what I feel personally, that you can do wonders and you have got all the potential which lies within you only. Don't look for external personality traits, but yes, if you want to follow somebody, definitely you can do that. You person has to have a lot of humility. I feel a good human being, and person who can understand other people, because if you can understand other people's problems, that will the best thing one can do. We don't understand normally in life what happens. We try to look into our problems. We don't listen properly to other people as to what are their problems and try to sort out. And I feel that you should take decisions instead of trying to decide on what decision to take. Commit mistakes in life. My solo aim is that I take decisions and then I ask my fellow colleagues, is it the right decision? Tell me. They tell me yes or no. So then I realize that yes, I have done something wrong. So learn from your mistakes, learn from your experience, which will enable you to achieve a lot of maturity in life. And these things do not happen in a day or two. It will take time. So take life as it comes, accept it the way it is, and you will, do well in your future life.
Right. So just to add on to that, personally, I think talent, the thing that you call talent, that is and intelligence are overrated. The most important thing is your hard work and your dedication. So all these great players or singers or anybody who see, they are very talented, but there are other people who might be more talented. They are very, very dedicated and very, very hardworking. So if you can be, I think if that is the one trait that, like sir said, dedication, sincerity and dedication, if you can develop, that is thing I think will overreach everything. How much money you have, how much talent you have, how much intelligence you have, dedication and hard work, I think is the most important.
And read this book, The Power of Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Yeah.
The Power of Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Another book is there, which is 80% Mindset, 20% Skills by Dave Dadvi. You can read these two books. These books are available on the PDF. It's free of cost. Read it, and you will definitely get inspired. And believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in God. Believe in your parents. Believe in your faculty members. Always remember, they are going to work for you and see to it that you do wonders in this world. I can assure you that.
Thank you, sir. So the very last question of the day is, a student asked how to test your actions, like what you are doing is right or wrong. Can we only judge it by being successful or losing? It also tell what was right.
See, it's very difficult in this world to decide. When you have taken a decision, you may go wrong. So take like I think Abhishek has already covered that. Take a rational decision. Whatever you think is the best. You may be wrong. That's okay. Take a decision and see the outcome of the decision. Is it impacting other people also? Then try to change your decision at that point of time. If you've already taken a decision, it has impacted others, come back and ask for forgiveness. That's what I would say. It's very important to understand this in your life, that if decisions are taken and if you go wrong, don't be bothered about the mistakes which you have committed. I'll just take 1 minute on that, about mistakes. Research has indicated that the pilots who are flying, they commit mistakes and they share their mistakes. And that is why the probability of a flight crashing is 0.01%. 0.01%. And about 1 million flights are there on any day. Now flights are not there, but I'm talking about pre-COVID times. Okay. So pilots share their mistakes, and that is why the probability of flight crashing is very low, unless the aeroplane has got some technical faults. That's a different matter. The pilots' mistakes have been reduced drastically over the years. The second point is the doctors who commit surgical operations. They don't share their mistakes because they feel that if we share our mistakes with our fellow colleagues, it will go into the market. And that is why the deaths which are happening because of the surgical operation is 3%, which is quite high number. Surgical operations being performed every day. So if you commit a mistake, I would suggest that you share it with your parents, your faculty members, and you will get guidance from them. Remember that. If you share your mistakes, normally what happens is students commit a mistakes and never share it with the parents. Be very frank with your parents, and parents are there to help you. Be very frank with your faculty members. Faculty members are there to help you out. And never keep silent if anything wrong is happening. Immediately bring it to the notice of the concerned authorities.
Sir, just to carry on, I would suggest don't be afraid of making mistakes, because experience is about making mistakes. So once you make a mistake, you learn from it and then you don't make it again. So a lot of us have a problem in taking decisions because we are always thinking, what if I am wrong? But if you keep on thinking that, you will not be able to take a decision. You have to take a decision and accept if that decision goes wrong. So if you take a decision and it goes wrong, please accept that and admit, okay, this is the mistake I made, and this is so I have made a mistake, mom, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, dad, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, teacher, I'm sorry. But accept the mistake. But don't let that affect your decision making. So please make decisions. It is okay to be wrong. It is okay to fall down. You can then pick yourself up and walk again. So take decisions. Don't be afraid of them.
In fact, there is a startup which accept mistakes. It is a startup which records all those mistakes which have been taken by individuals. It's just like a person going to a church and telling the priest that yes, I have committed this mistake. So that startup, it was really very interesting when I came to know They start up, accept mistakes, because then they put it on their website. This is a mistake committed, so that others can learn from this mistake. Very interesting.
Thank you, Ajay sir and Abhishek sir, for your informative and educative responses. It's correctly said that one should fall forward. Uh, so thank you, sir, for your informative responses. Over to you, Mohit.
Thank you, Anthony, for your assistance. Now it's time for a standard closure of this session. For this, I would like to invite placement cell member Mr. Aryan Raj of BBA third year to propose the vote of thanks. So over
Thank
to
you,
you,
Mohit.
Aryan.
Honorable Father Rector, Father Principal, Father Vice Principal, our placement executive, faculty members, and our most valued invited speakers, it is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Aryan Raj of BBA 3B, on behalf of St. Xavier's College of Management and Technology, extend a vote of thanks to the speakers for sharing their ideas and gracing us with their findings and opinions today. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to our speakers, Dr. Ajay Pathak and Mr. Abhishek Kundu, for their explanation on topic decision making for career and personal life and bringing out the leader in you. I would also like to thank Mukesh sir and Syed sir for their technical guide and support. Lastly, thank you to all the students for being such a wonderful students. Jai Hind, Jai Xaviers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aryan.
Over to you, Mohit.
As the session is over, you all can access the feedback link in the chat box from which you all will get the overall attendance. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, IB's team. Thank you, placement team. And the Google form is available in the chat box and it is open till 1 p.m. today. So please fill the form for your attendance. Thank you all for joining. Students, kindly make sure that you fill the Google form for your